Hello and welcome to another video. We've not done one of these in a really long time. I have uploaded all my speeches separately with Nard, but I thought I'd just do a full video of them all together and sort of talk through the event and how it went. I promise this won't be very long. But yeah, I'd just like to start with this picture. This is my favorite picture of the whole event. It has all my speakers in it. It has me at the front. It has Kat next to me. It has Lesley on the right. It has Silvia in the middle. And if you look really, really carefully in front of the blue bus at the back, you can just see Leo. So it has all of us in. There's 3 trans people at the front of this rally, which is fucking amazing. 3 trans vegans. There's the bus that was literally stuck behind us. That bus is following us. Because our march is holding the bus. The bus has to follow us. And, you know, we can see Kat holding leaflets, right? Because she gave out a bunch of leaflets. It sort of is a really good, just sort of picture that shows our entire event, you know, and how it went. And you know, I think the only thing missing from this picture is the Liverpool banner, because we had the Liverpool banner with us too, because Liverpool came. But yeah, it's a really good picture. So, Nard and how it went. I enjoyed running Nard. We got about 60 people. I think we could have got more if I'd chased a bit more. I could have chased Manchester Hunt Sabs. I could have chased Manchester Vegan Runners. I could have chased AV a bit more. I could have chased, you know, more of Manchester We the Free. I think if I'd really wanted, you know, and I'd been super hyper focused on this event, we probably could have got more people. But I just kind of wanted it to go well, and just happen, you know, and it did, and I'm really glad it happened. And I think with the amount of effort I put into it, I'm glad with what came out of it, right? There was no major failings. We got a little bit lost on our route, but that was fine. We didn't have a speaker, but that was fine. The people who I got to speak were the people who I wanted to speak. Like, Tom Pickering was like an extra that my friend got for me. But like the people who I asked to speak showed up and spoke for me, which I couldn't have asked for any more than that, to be honest. Like, you know, 2 of my heroes spoke, which is amazing. And Sylvia was really good. The poem is amazing. And Leo, blew me out the park, actually. I didn't expect Leo to make me feel as emotional as I was when I sort of listened to them play and I listened to their story. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the whole event. Yeah, but it was just a good event. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, I'll let you watch the speeches. If you've not seen them, and my weird commentary in between. Yeah. Boop. Oh, we also had an amazing show up for the people who baked. I really didn't expect that much baked goods to happen. It was ridiculous. So yeah, that was really fucking amazing.
Right. Firstly, thank you ever so much for coming. I know I've said that a million times. I just want to say that everything we did today was done by voluntary stuff. Everyone who's here, not been paid, they've chosen to come up and help. Some people who said they were going to help, unfortunately couldn't make it. We don't have a speaker. So our speakers are going to be projecting. It's going to be hard. But if you could listen and pretend you can hear them and clap when you think that they're making funny jokes, I would really appreciate that. Whoop. Our first speaker today is Kat. She is amazing. She's my hero. She's from Glasgow. She came all the way from Glasgow yesterday. She's here to speak about her activism that she's done.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks for having me. Hi. Yeah, it's a shame that there's no speaker. I'm quite timid, so I'm quite quiet. I can't show. Okay, my name's Kat. I've been arrested 17 times, and I don't want to be known as a vegan criminal. But the reason for that is I get involved with direct action. Some examples of me engaging in direct action have resulted in videos going viral for spilling, for example, spilling milk in a Waitrose, like millions of views from that. Climbing on a slaughterhouse truck demanding a plant-based future plant-based gardens instead of slaughterhouses. And successful, and my main, most proud of is successfully liberating beagles from MBR. Thank you. I could list many more actions I've done and the stories behind them, and trust me, every action I've done has like a long story behind them. But I'm here to convey the benefits of direct action. Not only have these actions annoyingly giving me a criminal record, but they've allowed huge press coverage of niche animal rights topics being talked about in society and in the public. They've enabled speakers from Animal Rebellion, now known as Animal Rising, to go up on national television and explain what is wrong with our current traditions and also our vegan position, obviously. They've allowed the public to engage with our perspective during these viral moments and question why we do what we do. They've directly disrupted harmful supply chains and obviously industries that hurt animals and pressure these companies to adopt a fully plant-based stance. All of this for the animals, obviously, and for the environment. Writing petitions and voting and marches is great and all, but how do we expect individuals themselves to create systematic change when the system itself is broken? The only way is to make a stance, to get your voice heard throughout all this noise, to make a dent in the system through more pressure campaigns. If we look back throughout history and think of pivotal moments that changed society, what do we think about? We think about the suffragettes, petrol bombing stuff, the Black rights movement, diner sit-ins, where they endured mass police brutality, the LGBT movement, where they smashed windows at Stonewall. We can learn about all these events throughout history that change societal norms. And I know things can sometimes get violent, but it doesn't always have to be. For example, Animal Rising take a completely non-violent stance borrowed by Gandhi and Martin Luther King, mainly Martin Luther King. Personally, all my actions have been non-violent, and I've undergone provided training for that as well. Obviously, there's more to these than just front-end explosive, attention-grabbing actions, as there's a lot of back-end preparations that comes with every protest to ensure safety, outcome goals, and support for action takers. For example, there's a lot of volunteers getting involved with supporting activists under arrest at police stations or having court trials. So no matter if you can't get arrested or not, there's always something that you can do, and for everyone who wants to get involved, which thus grows a community of like-minded individuals and making the vegan movement more close-knitted and unified. The amount of love and solidarity shown within these groups and protests has been phenomenal. And I've had lots of people like just hosting me on a whim when I have to go to court. So I thank everyone of those that like support me and stuff. And ever since I've started doing activism, I've made real and long connections as well with like-minded individuals such as yourselves. Now, I'm not discouraging other forms of activism. Every form has its own place and its own pros and cons, and every form is needed for a complete movement to operate. Even these historical movements were definitely built from more humble, grassroots, tame beginnings and then evolved to them changing the world. And I've just got a few notes from my clever friend that talks about direct action. So direct action is a very important political tool to show the world you want change, i.e. liberating animals equals a world without exploited animals. To do your politics rather than voting and waiting for something, instead of relying on other individuals to make the change, you go do it yourself. You're active in your politics. It's an ends and a means. which is like this is an anarchist thought, and that the tactics you use for your end goals need to be true to your thoughts, whatever that means. Therefore, if you see the value of animal rights being talked about in social media, if you feel that freeing puppies from a future of vivisection and testing inspires our movement, and if you want to directly change lives of animals while building a solid community of like-minded, compassionate individuals, do come and see if direct action is for you. And that's my scripted part. I'm just gonna like ramble from now on. How I got involved with direct action is, well, I first was doing outreach online actually, on Discord. And then I saw that Animal Rebellion were blocking McDonald's, and I thought that was really cool. So I went down to Vegan Camp Out, and then I went down to London with them, and I got arrested the first time, and I was very scared at first. But then I made a lot of new friends, and I understood why this was important. And from then on, I was really inspired to take more of these kind of actions. And obviously I made a lot of IRL vegan friends, like real life vegan friends. And not to mention the huge amount of public press releases that have come from these actions, the amount of interviews on, for example, Good Morning Britain and other talk shows. Yeah, I've definitely said I found my tribe, and yeah, and another thing for the MBR acres, that actually got dropped the second time we went there because I guess like they don't want to push charges so that the case would be open in public. If they done that, it would probably get a lot of negative press from the public. So those charges just got dropped immediately. Which is to say that if you do these actions against really, really bad companies, they might let you go. But obviously you need to understand the risks from all of that and get briefed. So yeah, without breaking some of the rules and thinking outside the box and a little civil disobedience, how are we expected to move the Overton window? Thank you.
Right, my next speaker is Lesley. So Lesley is an amazing woman who is a vegan runner. I started vegan running a little while ago, and I probably wouldn't have kept doing it if it wasn't for Lesley. Now I do it like twice a week, and this is the reason why. You're amazing.
I'm acting like this works, but I'll do my best, okay? So I wish I wasn't following Kat, because I'm not an inspiring activist like her. I mean, I have been arrested, but it was for stealing pick and mix from Woolworths when I was 14. So yeah. Although I have to say, I'm glad the police have gone, because the first and actually the only time I ever spoke in public was at the poll tax demonstrations when I was 16. And just as I finished speaking, it all kicked off and became the poll tax riot. And a week later, I actually got expelled from the Labour Party. So a rumour went round that I think is still believed by some people today, that I got kicked out of the Labour Party for starting the poll tax riots. So that's sort of my claim to fame, but it's not even true. So I'm here to talk about what I would say a much more sort of quiet form of activism, perhaps in some ways a more passive form of activism, which is vegan running. I'm from Vegan Runners, and I thought, where will I start with this? And I thought, well, why am I a vegan, and why do I run? Why am I a vegan runner? And I think when people think of the important decisions that they've made in life, the things that have changed the course of their life, they often think about when they chose their university, they think about which career they chose, their progression of career, they think about parenthood. And I have to say that none of those things, including motherhood, and I'm sorry, George, were not the defining moments in my life. Obviously, being a mother is the most important part in my life. But when I think about the moments that really defined me and changed the course of my life and made me who I am, one of them is becoming vegetarian when I was very young, but then becoming vegan and also choosing to start to run. So I'd been a pretty much lifelong vegetarian, and then in 2012 I saw something on Facebook actually about the sheer utter horror of the dairy industry, which I almost couldn't believe. Looked up, thought this is true, and became a vegan overnight. And then around this time, I was diagnosed with one of the rarest and strangest medical conditions in the world, which I'm not going to go into now, but if anyone does want to know about that, come to me afterwards and I'll tell you. But I decided at that time to, because I was very unfit, I was very overweight, I decided I was going to reclaim my health and change my life. And I thought veganism can help me with this because it's healthy. So I became a whole foods, plant-based vegan. And also around the same time, my son, who's sitting over there, said to me, do you want to do the Couch to 5K? Which, for those of you who don't run, is a way of building up learning to run, basically. So I thought, all right, yeah, we'll do that. And it was December, and it was constantly pissing it down. And it was cold, and it was windy, and we were doing it on an evening, and it was dark, and could it be any worse? But about halfway through the programme, when you run for 8 minutes solid, I was running into the piss-wet wind with the rain in my face, freezing cold, and I thought, there's something in this. Maybe I'm a masochist, but there's something in this that I really like. So I thought, right, I'm going to do this. And then I applied for a ballot place in the Great North Run, and much to my surprise and partly horror, I actually got a place. I then thought, shit, I'm going to have to do this. So I did that. And then I mostly just ran around he'd already given it up by then. He like copped out after halfway. But I thought, I just ran around by myself, and then I went to my first ever vegan festival, and there was a vegan runner's stall there. And this sounds really strange, but I'd never spoken to another real life vegan in my life. So I thought, oh, this is wonderful. So I joined them. About a week or two later, we went for our first ever run, and there was 5 or 6 of us. And I remember thinking at that point that these people are my people. These are the people that I've not had throughout the rest of my life. And these are the sort of people that I want to be with. I work as a therapist in the NHS, and I often meet a lot of really great, inspiring people. And my clients often leave things with me that have really helped me get through life when I've thought about things. And I had one chap who had experienced a lot of difficulties in his mental health. And as he was recovering, he started to form a lot of connections with people around him, joining different groups, doing voluntary work. And it really helped him, and it helped him stay well. And I remember him saying this quote to me that is always in the back of my head, is, all you've got to do is find your tribe. That's what you need to do. And I remember meeting these vegan runners and thinking, yep, this is my tribe. These are the people I want around me in my life. But there was only 6 of us in Leeds. There was only 250 of us in the entire country. So we thought, how do we grow this movement? So we went round the vegan festivals. We attend park runs as much as we can. We belong in local running groups too, where I think many of us have inspired. We've brought vegans to running, and even better than that, we've brought runners to veganism. I think there's at least 6 or 7 people in my local club who've become vegan because I am vegan. So I'm going to have to look at my notes, which I can neither see nor read at this point. Yeah. And I think it's really important to go around running wearing the vegan runner's shirt, because we show each other where we are, we show each other our presence. And this struck me very much when me and my partner a couple of years ago, we went and ran a park run in our vegan runner's vest in a fairly rural part of Scotland. And as we finished, one of the volunteers, who was an older lady, came up to us and looked absolutely delighted to see me. And I'm thinking, is this like a long lost relative or something? She was running up to me with her arms open. And she explained, she said that her and her husband were like the only vegans in the village in this rural farming community in Scotland. And then sadly, he had died about 18 months earlier to this. So she decided she would start volunteering at Parkrun, largely because sometimes vegan runners come there, and that's the only time that she ever knowingly would meet with other vegans. So I think it's really important that we go around wearing the vegan runner's vest, because we show each other where we are, and we also show the meat eaters, who I prefer to call vegans in waiting, that we exist as well. And often vegan runners can be quite good at running. I think because we don't eat loads of crap, we're often quite good at it, and that inspires other runners to come and chat to us about what are we doing that's working, what is it that's going well, basically. So I added up, I've been a vegan runner for it's 10 years this month actually. So I added up that I've spent about 3,500 hours showing that vegans can be strong, that we can be fit, that we can be very determined, that we can be inspiring. So I think it's important that we do this. We do this at parkruns, where often like 20, 30 of us will turn up together and have a really big presence in that parkrun and in the cafe that we go to afterwards and cause havoc usually. But you don't have to be a fast runner either. You don't even have to run, you can walk. At the parkruns that we do every week, there's almost 1,000 vegan runners across the country on a Saturday running at parkruns, and some of them are the best club runners in the country, and others are walking, and that's absolutely fine, because amongst people who run or don't run, some people are brilliant runners, some people just want to, it's a challenge to them to just get out of the bed and get out of the house. So we need people that relate to different people of all levels. And I mean, plus you could argue, if you're walking slowly round a parkrun as a walking placard for vegan runners and veganism, you're doing it for longer, and that's better. Those of us that do it within 20 minutes, we're wasting our time there. So where are we? Yeah, so we connect with each other. As a club, we encourage and support each other. We commiserate each other's, when it doesn't go quite so well, we're always there for each other. And we formed a community. And I think we inspire people to do things that I think are really quite remarkable. I mean, most of us came to running a little bit later in life. So we've got people who have never ran a step in their life, who have gone on to run marathons or ultra marathons, do things that other people don't do, that are brilliant for them and also brilliant for the vegan movement. I mean, we have the presence at Parkrun. We also, some of us, even within the Leeds group, have ran, like Craig here has run every major marathon in the world. Jess said I should say something about, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That I should say something about my granny always told me that no one likes to show off, but Jess said I should say something about my achievements. So I've run the Boston Marathon, and I've also run the London Marathon 8 times. I've run the New York Marathon, various other marathons as well. And this has been great for me as a person, but also these are massive televised events that tens of thousands of people are watching, and they see the vegan runner's shirt. And it was amazing at the London Marathon this year. Normally I get the odd clever comment about bacon or shit like that, but there were so many go vegan shout outs. It was about 5 or 6 times every single minute. Go vegan, go vegan. I've noticed over those 10 years that I've been a vegan runner just how much the movement has been built. We've gone from when vegan runners started, it started 20 years ago as a sort of splinter group from Vegetarian Cycling and Athletics Club. There were 6 people that started the movement, partly because they wanted veganism to have a bigger presence within the country and within the athletics community, but also to raise money for animal sanctuaries that one of them was running pretty much single-handedly. And I think now in my street there's almost as many vegan runners as there were in the country at that point then. I mean, the Leeds group has gone from 5 or 6 of us to easily 20 people every Saturday meeting up, but often far more than that. And so really wonderful, inspiring people. I mean, we're all different ages, we're all different levels of running, we're different nationalities, different genders. but yet it feels like a family where there's a sense of belonging, a sense of support and encouragement, the things that you need as an activist, because you can't do it by yourself. We do it through our connections with other people. And I think, oh yeah, I missed out one of my achievements. So a week ago, I was here a week ago in Manchester running the Manchester Half Marathon, but I wasn't wearing my vegan runner's vest, and this is, I think, the first race I've ever done not wearing my vegan runner's vest. And that was for a very good reason. It was because I was actually running for England. I was wearing an England vest. So, and that's what veganism and running has done for me. I've gone from being somebody who was like 7 stone underweight and could barely walk to the end of the street to actually representing my country within that sort of space of time. So thank you. So that's what it's done for me. And I rather like doing positive things for other vegans. And running is good for you, by and large. It's good. People say it's bad for your knees, but it's not really. And it's good for us as people. And I want vegans to live long, happy, healthy lives. And running is part of that. There's just one final thing from a quote from another vegan runner, a chap called Paul Yude. He's one of the stars of the documentary that's recently been made. Was it Tom Pickering that made? Yeah, Tom Pickering, who's not here, couldn't be here. The documentary I Could Never Be Vegan. One of the stars of that is a chap called Paul, who is a vegan runner. Now, Paul's in his late 80s. He started running in lockdown when I think he was 85 or something like that. He has run ultra marathons. He's done 100k runs. He's a thoroughly amazing man. And I used him because I work with older people, and I used him as an example of positive ageing in a lecture that I was doing. And he said, you can use my picture, you can talk about me, but what you've got to do is pass on to them, which I'm going to pass on to yourself here, his favourite quote, which is, don't wait till you're 84 to find out that you're capable of more than you ever thought you possibly could do. So I'd encourage those of you that, whether you want to run, whether you want to walk, whether you just want breakfast, come and find your tribe and join us in Vegan Runners. So, thank you for having me.
We have our first local speaking and our only local speaking next. Oh, the wonderful Silvia, who runs Manchester Pig Save. So if anyone is actually local, this is the one person you can actually sort of find and ask, how do I come and see you? You good? The microphone, it's a good job it's not actually a microphone, because it's way too tall for you.
That's okay, everything's too tall.
We are recording the sound though, so if you can...
Okay, are we?
Thank you.
All right, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name's Silvia if you don't know me, and I am one of the organisers from Manchester Pig Save, and I'm also an organiser for Manchester Plant-Based Treaty. I've been vegan for 6.5 years, and I've been doing animal activism for 6 years. My first sort of journey into activism was to do something safe. It was quite scary, and I found out about the Animal Save movement, the global Animal Save movement, and then my husband and I found Manchester Pig Save, which was in Ashton, and I was so nervous when I first went to Manchester Pig Save, but I can't tell you what I found. I know, like Lesley and has been saying about finding your tribe and finding your people, and I can only reiterate that. I went to Manchester Pig Save and I found my family. I just found my family, and we're still there, we're still together, we've all moved and done different things, but they are my people, and it's just been an amazing journey, really. I haven't got a big sort of speech to make. I haven't. I'm just me. I'm a vegan and I'm an animal activist. But I was at the Manchester, the VARC Vegan Animal Rights Conference a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. You were there, weren't you? And we had a table, so I had a stall with some of our people. And I was wearing my Manchester Pig Save t-shirt, which had a little pig on the front. And this woman came up to me and she wanted to know, what is a vigil? So I was trying to explain to her that we stand outside slaughterhouses and we bear witness to animals going to slaughter. And she says to me, she said, I have a friend and she's wrote a poem about a vigil. And I was saying, oh, okay, have you got it with you? yeah, I've got it with me. So she showed it me, and I read it, and it actually blew my mind, this poem, because it said everything we do and everything we feel. So I just says to her, look, I'm going to a National Animal Rights March in Manchester in a few weeks. Would it be okay if I read your poem? And she said, oh yes, please. And the woman who wrote it, his name was Margarita Hanna. Now, I've never met this woman, but she put down in words just my life. Okay, might have to put my specs on now. So it's called The Vigil. I looked into your eyes, I saw your soul inside, and I begged your forgiveness. In all your suffering, you looked back at me and saw that I was suffering too. I cannot stop now what's going to happen to you, I said, but your soul spoke to me and pleaded, do not grieve for me, because in a moment I will be gone. Instead, be my voice so I will live on. Instead, be my sister who remembers my pain. Instead, fight for my children, for they will be following me. There are tears in my eyes because I am afraid, she said. And I can see there are tears in your eyes because you have compassion. You know what is to come. Show others how to love me, and in that love, let them save themselves. We are earthlings, you and me. We each have a place, and a right, and a time to be, and a longer life to be. Paw, claw, hand, hoof, feather, scales, skin and fur. We are one, you and me. We each have dreams and longings to be, cherished and free. Your tears will not save me today, but go from this place and tell them what you saw. Let your loving action and words be my voice. We are one, you and me. Be my voice, tell my story. Thank you.
Right then, my lovely lot. Thank you for listening to all my speakers. And I am last. I'm standing in for Tom Pickering. So I'm supposed to be a famous film director, but I'm not. I'm me instead. Oh, thank you. Although I'll be the loudest, so at least you'll be able to hear me. Way! Right, so I only started doing this 1.5 years ago. I can't claim to have been doing it 10 years. I can't claim to have been I can't claim to have been arrested 17 times. I definitely haven't done anything, in that regard. But I have only been doing this about 1.5 years. And in those 1.5 years, my life has changed dramatically, right? In February of last year, I went to my first AV event as a girl. And it was my first time sort of leaving my house as a girl. And I met people who didn't ask me why I looked funny or why I had a name that didn't suit the fact that I looked a bit weird. They just said, what's your name? What are your pronouns? Can you speak about veganism? And for the first 45 minutes, they didn't really trust me to speak about veganism. They because most people go to activism and they don't really have the gall to speak to the public the first time they go. So they didn't really trust me. They sort of kept me to one side and they kept briefing me to sort of make sure that maybe I was okay. And I was lucky enough that after about 45 minutes, it was so busy that the lady who kept briefing me was like, I need to go and speak to people, so I'm going to leave you alone. And I was like, yes, it's my turn. And I turned around and I had a conversation and I spoke to an Italian pig farmer who spoke no words of English. And their friend had to translate for them. And I spoke to them for about 25 minutes and they gave up on the conversation entirely. And I just spoke to their friend who was translating. And about 10 minutes later, she was crying in the street. And this was my first ever conversation. And she said to me, I am going to go away and I'm going to think about this. I'm going to think about doing something about this. And I said, no, I don't want you to think about it. You need to do something about it. Because as long as you're thinking about it, you're paying for these animals to be tortured, to be killed. You need to do something about it. And she said she would. And that was my first ever outreach conversation. And not everyone is going to have it like me. But for the rest of the day, I had a nice time having similar conversations. None of them were that impactful, but I had lots of the conversations. And at the end of that, we went to a restaurant. And I sat in a vegan restaurant with about 10 to 15 vegan people speaking about vegan things for the first time in my entire life. And I said to them after that event, I said, how can I do this again? When are you doing this again? And they said, next month. And I said, no, I don't want to do it next month. I want to do it next weekend. Where can I go? And they said, there's a city, it's far away, it's called Manchester. Go there. They're doing something there. And I did. The next week I came to Manchester and I did outreach in Manchester. We walked up Market Street. I did it just down there. And the weekend after that, I did it in York. And the weekend after that, I did it in Scarborough. And the weekend after that, I did it in Leicester. I went to Birmingham. I've been all over the north of England doing street activism because I really, really enjoy going to the vegan restaurant with the vegan people and speaking about vegan things at the end because I get to be surrounded by you lot. And it's wonderful. And I don't think people realise. That's why I invited my speakers here today. I invited them here today because these are the people who have really sort of helped me find community and helped me make friends and helped me feel good about being vegan, right? And I think so many people don't understand that and don't appreciate that. And that is like, we're all vegan and we all know what it feels like to not really feel safe in the environment around us. You know, like when we walk down the street, there's burger places, there's literal vans selling dead animals. And we sort of are, you know, confronted on a daily basis with the fact that we exist in a place which doesn't hold our ethics. So it's really, really important for us to seek out events like this and find our community and make those friends and just sort of exist in that world. So, you know, I didn't think, you know, a year and a half ago when I started all this that I would be running NARD. Right, I didn't think that I'd be doing, you know, I did a half marathon yesterday up basically a bloody mountain. It was ridiculous. And, you know, in a month's time, I'm doing an ultra marathon with like 6 other vegans. And the only reason I did it is because my friends went, we're going to do an ultra, Jess. And I was like, but I want to be with you. I want to do that too. So I did it. And that is within all of our grasp, you know. Like there are events out there, and if I can teach you anything from my experience, go find them, go join those events, go do them, and don't see them as like being scary. Don't see them as like being something that you might not be accepted in, right? Because every vegan space I've ever been in has just accepted me, and I'm weird, right? And if they accept me, they'll accept you lot, you know. So I'll shut up now, and we can go back to eating cake and chatting. And you can all pretend you've heard all of our speakers. But I would just like to say one more thank you to everyone for coming. And I hope I see all your faces again at other vegan events. You know, I really hope that... Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Oh. Thank you. We're done. We good? Is it wrap? Amazing. Oh, is there any cake left? Oh, cool. I'm going to have some cake. Wait. So we're not entirely done. There is a man here with a guitar who's going to play some tunes if you want to sit and listen. And
do 2 if everyone wants to stay and listen.
Yeah.
It's not like Coldplay.
And apparently people are going to go for food at Vegan Shack when we've stopped with music and when we've put things away. Vegan owned. I don't know why I'm shouting when she's shouting. It's as if she thinks I have a microphone. It's vegan owned and vegan run and all vegan food. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right, my beautiful friend Leo here. Actually, fun thing about Leo, the first activism event I ever went to, Leo was there. Oh yes, sorry, one more announcement. Really, I need to shut up. Right, so I don't advertise social events, I just don't do it. It's not something I do, except for one. There is one vegan social event that you should attend. That is Run for the Planet. It's being run by Silvia. It is amazing. It is the first ever run I ever did. It's 5k. You don't have to run if you don't want to, but they have a barbecue. They have some bands. It's an amazing event. There's loads of vegans there. It's really good. It's on the 23rd of June in Didsbury. Right. Music. Thank you all. Leo.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'll just play you 2 songs because you've all done really well sitting and listening for so long. Can you tell I used to be an infant teacher? Yeah, because I did. Anyway, yeah, so I met Jess through doing AV. Seeing as our other speakers have talked a little bit about themselves, I feel I should probably do just a little bit the same off the cuff. Yeah, I've been vegan like 10 years and I've been doing activism about 2. It took me a while to get into it. I went to see Joey Carbstrong give a talk. And that was a long time before I started doing activism. I don't know what my excuse is really, but I went through some like traumatic life events and that gave me the kick up the arse to go, you need to get out and do some activism. And it's one of the best things I've ever done for sure. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to play you 2 songs. I've been obsessed for quite a long time about writing songs about animals. It's another sort of form of activism, I like to think, in a way. Yeah, they're all songs inspired by animals, sometimes in a slightly roundabout way. And I sort of feel getting people to have empathy with the lives of others is part of that. Anyway, right, so this first song is about a spider. And I wrote this song on my... Is anyone else here a bit arachnophobic? Yes. Yeah. I used to be. I've sort of found I've got a bit less arachnophobic since I've been vegan, funnily enough. Anyway, yeah, on my last ever day of being a classroom teacher, I was asked to destroy a kid's sandpit. It was made out of wood, and so I was given like a crowbar and a sledgehammer, and I was destroying this sandpit. Where's this going? Somewhere, I promise. And yeah, in this sandpit there was a gorgeous big spider living there, and I just felt really guilty for destroying this spider's home. So yeah, it's a song about that. It's got a bit of a chorus that you can join in with if you like. It goes, why can't we live together? And then there's a woo 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 bit. Okay? We've got a lot in common, you and I. You still send a shiver down my spine. A fearful fascination flows through, but it's so sad what I must do. It's all I've known, the comfort of home. I'm heading out on my own. I need to know. I'm so sorry. How can I heal the hurt without making it worse? I would if I could make it better. Why can't we live together? You've got a lot of nerve to think it's okay. My life turned upside down today. The world is collapsing, falling down. It's so sad all around. Suddenly split, the daylight spills in. So some things must die while others begin. I'm so sorry. How can I heal the hurt without making it worse? I would if I could make it better. Why can't we live together? Why can't we live together? Why can't we live together? This is the bit. Why can't we live together? Why can't we live together? It seems we have been living in a dream. Do you feel it's real? We've always been one day away from starting again. It's so sad in the end. There's no way to know how this will go. I'm heading out on my own. I need to know. I am so sorry. How can I heal the hurt without making it worse? I would if I could make it better. Why can't we live together? Why can't we live together? Woo-hoo-hoo. Why can't we live together? Woo-hoo-hoo. Why can't we live together? Woo-hoo-hoo. Why can't we live together? Thank you. Right, I'll play you one more. This is a song about the axolotl, the Mexican walking fish. They're very endangered. If you don't know a lot about them, they live in 2 rivers in Mexico. One of the rivers is dried up and the other one is intensely polluted. Most of them live in either in the exotic pet trade or in labs. So it's kind of about that. And yeah, it's also got some references to like the scientists and people who are working to try and save them. So those words go out to all the wonderful animal activists and people who are trying to end the exploitation and suffering of other sentient creatures. This song's called Phantom Limb. Phantom limb, such a thing, I know it will be back again. Thinking through, I changed my mind. Memory match is slipping time. You have the power, let it grow. Holding on to the only life you know. Feeling flows, head whole again. Spine is fine, sense of time lost in familiar lanes. Dreaming of old haunts again. You have the power, let it grow. Holding on to the only life you know. We had almost given up hope for you. We had almost given up trying. Riverbed running dry, almost gone, no place I can feel safe, reassured. We will return and we will endure. You have the power, let it grow. Holding on to the only life you know. We had almost given up hope for you. We had almost given up trying. If you are lost and hope is fading fast, put on the struggle. Seems impossible. Know that someone has got your back. They're doing the best they can. Born alone within walls, no family I call my own. Going home where we began. All has changed, no way I can. You have the power, let it grow. Holding on to the only life you know. Cold hits you like a wall, artificial light. Can't find all night and day. It's only they keep me going, it's the price I pay. You have the power, let it grow. Holding on to the only life you know. We had almost given up hope for you. We had almost
Thank you.
I think that was almost better than being amplified anyway.
One more announcement. Our friends from Pigs in the Woods have come here today. They're our only stall that's not us. They're absolutely amazing. They have maintenance days once a week. If you want to go and help them, like do work on the sanctuary, you can do that. If you want to go and visit and sort of see the pigs as a guest, you can pay to go visit. And if you want to speak to them about what they do, please do. They're really amazing. They are in
Denbydale, City kind of area.
Denbydale. But yeah. Huddersfield. They're in Huddersfield. Yeah, but right, I am now going to bugger off. Also, one more announcement. There is loads of cake left. We don't want to take it home. Please eat the cake, right? Please don't feel like you're taking too much. Eat lots of cake.